In this class, we will look at, we'll have a little look at, different types of fractions. So we have like three different types of fractions. This will be our focus in this class. And also, we will also look at how to move between one type of fraction to the other, how to basically, convert. So, yes, so basically, what is a fraction, right? So in the previous class we talked about what a fraction looks like. It's like it has a numerator and it's divided by a denominator, and then in this class we'll basically like tweak our definition to a certain part. And so we have this is what we'll call a fraction, really. So this is what we'll call a fraction now. A, B, all over C. Now, this is what we call a fraction, right here. And I will come back to this definition in the in a little bit of time. So here, so what are the three types of fractions that we have? Types of fraction. So we have first the proper fraction. So in our proper fraction, we have a case where A is equals to 0 and B is equal to is less than C. Now this is a proper fraction. Now, so what are the cases of proper fractions that we have? So we have half. So maybe because B is less than C, so 1 is less than 2. We have 3 all over 4. We have 3 all over 5. We have 11 all over 16. So this is 11 all over 16. These are examples of a proper fraction. Now, in this case, you notice that the certain A, right, is basically 0. So, what is the second type? The second common type of fraction is, we call it improper fractions. So, the improper fraction, we have, in this case, we have A is equals to 0, and then we have B is more than C. So basically, the numerator is greater than the denominator. So what is the examples of these cases? We have 11 all over 3, 15 all over 7. We have 8 all over 3. We have this type of examples. Now, the third type of fraction is a mixed fraction. So a mixed fraction in this case of a mixed fraction, A is greater than 0, and basically this is the main part of our definition. So A is greater than 0, and you could have B and C in any other way, right? B could be more than C, but mainly B should not be equal to C, right? I think this is just the main part. So here you could have 2.5, 3 1/4, 4 11 over 16. This is the case. So here you have a whole number, which is the normal number, and then a fraction. This is what we call a mixed fraction. Now, I could basically give you an idea of what it looks like in the real life. But then in this form, then we have to go from mixed fraction back. It's easier to see when you try to vision what a mixed fraction is, and then gradually move back. So we will give examples with real life scenarios. So we have like mixed fractions. So in the case of a mixed fraction, the real life scenario of what a mixed fraction is when you basically have like you have maybe 3 pies, and then you decide to say, okay, I have 3 pies and I would like to give John maybe 2 of the pies, but I also want to give him half of the pie. And maybe 2 is not enough for him. He wants like basically he wants 2 of them, and then later he wants more, and then you decide to give him half of it. So in this case, what we do is we basically divide one of the pies. So basically we gave him the first 2 pies for lunch, and then he comes back later and then he takes half of the other pie. In this case, this is a mixed fraction. This is a mixed fraction because he has taken 2 pies and then he took half of the pie again. So in this case, this is a mixed fraction. Now, assuming, so this is an example of a mixed fraction, but then if we want to look at what an improper fraction is, now an improper fraction here is assuming we already have it in our mind that, okay, so we already divide, we decide that we divide all the pies, we divide them into 2 already, because we know that this kind of scenario might occur where someone is coming back for more, but he doesn't want to have the full. So we decide to divide the pies into half. And in this case, we at first we decide to give John 2 parts. Two halves, and then we also give him another 2 halves, and then when he comes back the third time, we decide to give him one of the halves. In this case, now you notice that it's kind of the same with the first scenario, because at the end of the day, we end up giving him like 2 full pies and then a half. But like when we look at it from another perspective, we have given him 5 halves. So this case is what you have that becomes, if you were to model this case as a fraction, you will say we gave him 5 halves. So we gave him, because we gave him 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we gave him 5 halves, which is 5 all over 2. And this is what an improper fraction is. So, in the case of a proper fraction, it just comes to say that there is nothing like a whole number here. So, it's very, very much straightforward, especially based on the example that was already given in the previous class. Now, we will then go ahead now to see how to basically, reduce a fraction. How to basically convert an improper fraction to a mixed fraction. Because when you see this example here, we could see that even though it's the same, it's the same 2.5 fraction, but then at the end of the day, we can represent it in an improper fraction, and we can also represent it in a mixed fraction. So the next question is, how do we conveniently convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, and vice versa? So we could just quickly take that in this section of the class. So, so here we're looking at how do we convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, right? So, so we have mixed fraction to improper fraction. So if we want to do if we want to convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, this is the formula. The formula basically states A times C plus B, where we're basically using the model that we already had before, right? So this is the model. A, B all over C will be like this. Then we have C, right? So what does this mean if you want to convert a number, say like 4/7/11, then your answer will be 4 times 11 plus 7 all over 11, right? So this is 51 all over 11. And then, so this is case 1. And then we could also look at 3 all over 15, another case. So here we could say 3 times 15 plus 3 all over 15, which is 48 all over 15. Right, so these are examples of how to convert a mixed fraction to an improper fraction. Now we could look at the reversal, which is basically saying how to convert an improper fraction to a mixed fraction. So here, we will use the examples we already have. I mean, basically we take 51 all over 11. And how do we do it this time around? What we're basically doing is we're trying to divide and find what the remainder is, right? So we will divide the numerator by the denominator, and then we find what is the remainder. So in the first case, if we try to divide 51 by 11, we will see that we cannot go beyond 4, and so we have 44. So basically, this goes like this. Sorry, this could be modeled as such. So we have 11 into 51, and 11 will only go 4 times, which is 44, and this is 7. So in this case, our answer will be 4. Our answer will be 4, 11 all over. I'm sorry, 7. Sorry, because 7 is the remainder. This is the remainder. So basically, we will take 7 and then we'll divide it from the denominator. So this is 7 all over 11. This is the first question. And then we could also do the same for 48 over 15. So we have 15 into 48. So here we're going 15 into 48, which is like saying, so how many times could 15 go in 48? We'll discover is 3 times is 45 when we multiply, and then we say 3 is the remainder, right? So in this case now, we will basically take the 3, which is the whole number, and then we take the 3 all over 15, and then we have our answer, and then we can compare and see like it's giving us the previous answers as well. So in this class, this is like how to convert. Basically, this is how to convert an improper fraction to a mixed fraction, and then a mixed fraction to an improper fraction, basically. So in the next class, we will be looking at how to basically limit, to break down a fraction to its simplest form, and how to basically compare a fraction two different fractions to know if one fraction is greater than the other, or it is equivalent to the other, or it is smaller than the other, or something like this, So this is very important. Thank you. Meet you in the next class.